Welcome boys and girls from YouTube. My name is Sloth and this is the SlothForge. And in today's video we're going to have a very interesting topic for most players out there. So even if you have access to some of the strongest legendary heroes, even then this video will probably have some very useful information for you as well. So stay tuned. But let me say to you that this was not the easiest mission, because there are many extremely strong epic heroes out there. So to figure out the absolutely strongest units was actually not that easy, but here I am, and just with my personal opinion of some of the strongest epic heroes that you can currently use for Season 1. But before we get started, let me mention one thing real quick. I wanted to mention that I'm extremely grateful for all the support that you guys provide for this channel. Already more than 250 subs, and just all those nice comments. I'm very grateful, and just wanted to thank you for your subscriptions, for your likes, and even if you did not leave a subscribe yet or a thumb up, still for you as well, I'm very grateful just for being here, for watching the content. And maybe you could consider giving the video a thumb up or a subscription if this content is helping you. So now let's dive into it. Let's talk a bit about the strongest epic heroes. And before we get started, let's sort this for epic heroes. Now, there is no particular ranking in this tier list, even though it is actually no tier list. It's more just the strongest epic heroes overall, generally speaking. But there is no particular ranking, so the first heroes that I'm going to show you are not the strongest or the weakest from this list. It's sort for their particular roles. So first, let's talk about some very strong tank heroes. And you probably already guessed it. If you watch my other content, then for sure you know I'm going to talk about Garius. Garius is so strong. He is probably one of the top 3 epic heroes. And I know so many players who have access to many legendaries as well, who still use Garius just because he is so useful. He is summed up pretty quickly. He is just a tank, big tank, that it gets tankier the longer the battle goes, because he's gaining those stacks of defense up, and he has a built-in hit recovery and also an extremely strong heal, a heal that scales off his defense. And yeah, since he is getting more defense the longer the battle goes, his heal also gets stronger the longer the battle goes. That's it pretty much. That's Garius. If you have him, you should definitely use him. He is just an insanely strong hero. Now, another very strong tank that is not getting that much attention as he used to in the older version of the game is Horrus. Horrus also is very useful, very strong, and also 100% free to play, because I cannot remember where exactly, but I know that everyone got Horrus, if I'm not mistaken. So he is a very useful hero as well, because he has this built-in damage reduction, which is very useful, and also a taunt control effect, which just helps to keep your backline alive. Apart from that, he also has this hit recovery buff, which just helps your healers as well, and he is just overall a relatively tanky hero. Also, this attack penalty debuff is extremely useful as well, and just helps him staying alive even longer. So he's also a very strong tank. Now, of course, it's my personal opinion, but I think that he is a bit weaker than Garius. But there are contents where you probably want Horrus over Garius, just because he has those very useful debuffs, attack penalty and taunt. But of course, if you want him to place the attack penalty and the taunt debuff and control effect, then you need to build him with a little bit of accuracy. So he is a little bit harder to build, because if you build Garius, you only need defense, a little bit of HP, and that's it pretty much. Maybe some resistance, especially for Fae, but so overall he's a little bit easier to build than Horrus. So these are, in my opinion, the strongest tanks in the epic category. Of course, there is a third extremely strong tank. It is Frurbath. He also is insanely strong, and in the first week of the season, he has been used in many Vortex teams, just because he has good amounts of healing and he has this continuous heal, so he is just perfectly for the Horn artifact, where you can buff your whole team's damage, and also he can apply the attack penalty debuff, and just like I said, heal your team for very good amount. So Frurbath absolutely is one of the top 3 epic tank heroes in this game in Season 1. So that's it from the tank category. I think, of course, there are other honorable mentions. So if you disagree with something that I just said, or if you think that I forgot a very strong epic hero, not just from the tank faction, but generally speaking, at the end of the video, please let me know in the comments below. I'm very interested in your opinions as well. But that's it for the tank faction. Now let's talk about some of the most useful healers out there. And if you watched my other content, you probably know I'm going to talk a bit about Catherine. She's a relatively simple character, and yet so useful and so effective. She can place some small heals. She has like a built-in staff, the staff artifact, so she just can convert overheal into a shield, which is very useful. It makes her also a very good hero for the mythical gear set. Now let me look real quick. What is it called? Skycode Treaty. Now I remember it. Fine. Well, she is very useful with this in combination with the Skycode Treaty set, because then she can also dispel some debuffs because she is placing those shields. Apart from that, she is just there for healing. But let me say to you, she is healing for very good amounts. And placing this defense up is very useful as well, because it just helps your tank to survive way longer. And then she's placing a debuff immunity as well, which is an extremely strong buff. It's probably one of the strongest buffs out there. And if it is used correctly, you can use Catherine and her debuff immunity ultimate for different content out there. So you should definitely, if you have not already considered using Catherine in some of your teams, you should definitely give Catherine a try, because she is a simple kit, but yet so effective kit. That's Catherine, an extremely strong healer. Another very, very strong healer is Estella. You already saw me that I've been using her in content as well, because once again, she's doing one thing. It is placing those heals, healing generally, big amounts, and she can heal for a lot. Her healers is Scales of Enlightenment, which just helps. It is relatively easy to build, and most healers out there, I think not every single healer, but most healers, Scale of Enlightenment. So this is how you want to build your Estelle, your Catherine, and your other healers as well. High HP and defense, so they don't die quickly, but apart from that, just big amounts of enlightenment if somehow possible, because then their heals get very, very strong. Just like Catherine. Estelle. She is also able to place debuff immunity and defense up, and it is the big version of defense up. So this is very useful as well. Just if you place the mark with a passive on your tank, it is very hard for the enemy team to kill your tank, just because defense up helps a lot, but also this debuff immunity helps your tank so much. So once again, Estelle and Catherine are relatively similar. They are a bit different, and it depends a little bit on your personal preference and also on the content in general, who is more useful. But you can definitely give both of them a try, and since they are epic heroes, they are relatively easy to scroll up. They don't need that much scrolls either. So just scroll them up, use them, try them, and you will definitely be happy with the results. Now, some other healers, and actually the next one is not a healer in particular, it's Nathaniel. He can heal a little bit, don't get me wrong, but what makes him so great is that he places the big shields. And sometimes a shield is more useful than a heal. especially if you pair your healer with someone who is placing big shields. Those big shields are just like additional HP. So the HP pool of your tank and also your backline as well just grows a little bit. So it just gets even harder to kill your heroes. So if you struggle to keep your team alive, consider pairing Nathaniel, for example, with an healer, and you will probably have a way easier time. Also, he can dispel some debuffs, and I mentioned this in another video already. Dispelling debuffs is actually very rare and also extremely useful. There are not many heroes that are good at dispelling debuffs on their own. Now, of course, there are some talents. Now, he has not a talent. There are some talents that help you to dispel debuffs, but they are also a little bit of RNG. So this battle skill is very useful on Nathaniel, just because he can dispel debuffs and also place recovery over time. So I just really like Nathaniel. I've been using him in many areas in the game, especially early on, and I would highly recommend you, if you have some struggle with keeping your team alive, to pair Nathaniel with that other good healer, or maybe just with Garius, and all of a sudden you will have a way easier time. That's Nathaniel. And the last very strong healing hero that is also placing shields is Adolphus. Now, if you saw my Vortex team, my wild Vortex team, you already know how amazingly strong Adolphus is, because he's like a hybrid champion. He can place big shields and also heal your heroes by very good amounts. And that's it pretty much. This is what Adolphus does. He's just placing many shields, many big shields on your whole team also, not just this small area. He's placing those shields on your whole team, no matter where they are. So this is just very convenient as well. And then also healing for good amounts. Now, I'm only using Adolphus paired with 4 very squishy DPS units in my Vortex team, and he can keep my team alive for the whole 10 minutes. This is how strong Adolphus is. And this is not only useful, and he is not only useful for Vortex, he is useful for most areas in the game. So you should definitely give Adolphus a try as well. I really like him. I underestimated him in the first couple of days of the season, but I saw that many people have been using him in his Vortex team, and I had a blast using him. It was so much fun just to see how an epic hero keeps my team alive for a whole 10 minutes in the Vortex boss. And you know how hard the Vortex boss hits once the battle goes longer than 5 or 6 minutes. So it's very impressive from Adolphus. And that's it. This is the healing or the sustain category. Now let's talk a bit about the control category. And the first hero that I want to mention here is Iola. I already mentioned her in my Fae video as well. She is very strong because she can place many different control effects. As you can see here already, she's placing control effects on her passive, her battle skill, and on her ultimate as well. And those stunned debuffs are probably, or not debuffs, but control effects. Those stunned control effects are probably the strongest control effects out there because they are just so useful. And the silence control effect also is extremely useful. Just helps your team to stay alive, and also it helps your team to stay alive and to deal damage. It generally just silence and stun are 2 extremely useful control effects. And also what is so great about Iola is that she is not only placing attack penalty, but once again she has this multi-hitting AoE ultimate, which is just perfectly fine for the Witch Remains. Then she is not only placing attack penalty, but also defense penalty on her ultimate, also placing the silence control effect. And if you use the Holy Hunter set on her as well, and I would probably recommend you to use the Holy Hunter set on her, then she can apply defense penalty, attack penalty, silence, and stun on her ultimate on a very frequent way. So Iola is just insane. She's so useful in many different areas of the game. You could even use her in PvP and just control the whole enemy team if you have a bit of good RNG. So this is Iola. You should definitely consider giving her a try. Another very strong, very useful control-y hero is Voresh, because he brings a full AoE ultimate, also multi-hitting, so once again he is very good in combination with the Witch Remains, and he brings very rare debuff, the buff Prohibition. Now if he has enough skill haste, this can be also very useful in PvP, and of course many other areas in the game as well. And I saw some of the strongest PvP teams out there using Voresh, with very high amount of accuracy and very high amount of skill haste as well. So he can use his ultimate before the enemy team is buffing their team up, and all of a sudden extremely strong and useful heroes. For example, he can be a very good counter for Mithrasia. He is one of the most annoying exclusive heroes out there for PvP, and he just can completely counter her if he is faster than her because of this buff Prohibition, because it is in full AoE, so no matter where the enemies stand, where they are placed, he hits every one of them. So his ultimate extremely strong. And also he can dispel some buffs, which is once again very useful, and he has a small healing as well. But this heal is not the strongest part of his kit. It is all about his ultimate. It is insane. So you should, if you're not already used your Voresh, you should definitely give your Voresh a try. And the last hero in the control faction, or in the control category, is Theodore. He is very useful, and I personally underestimated how strong he is. But I saw on the official Discord how often he is used in those Fey teams for the waves, and he deserves to be used so much, because he is very useful. He places some of the most useful debuffs. He plays recharge speed penalty, also a very rare debuff, which is so useful. And not only for waves, but also, or especially when it comes to some boss content, because it just gives your team more time, and it just makes the opponent, the enemy, the boss slower. And 30% is a lot. So it just helps your team to survive, and also, especially for those battles that have a longer duration and bosses that get stronger over time, because every single time they fully go through a rotation, they get some stacks that make them overall stronger. Then those recharge speed penalty debuffs are extremely valuable. He also can place attack penalty, which is just one of the best debuffs for boss content, because if a boss is smacking for extremely high numbers, then reducing his attack by 50% is just so useful. And he is also able to place stunt debuff or stunt control effect on an AoE area. Now it is not the strongest AoE area, but it is AoE. So this is why he has so much usage for the Fey waves. He is MVP for many teams, and you should definitely, if you have struggled with Fey Meander, you should definitely give Theodore a try. Now, this is the control category. Let's talk a bit about the DPS heroes, because there are some extremely strong DPS units in the epic category. The first one I want to talk about really quick is Vidimir. If you watched my other content, you saw that I've been using him in many different areas in the game, especially when it comes to AoE damage. If you need AoE damage, you should absolutely give Vidimir a try, because his ultimate deals so much damage. And if you have someone else who is applying frost debuffs as well, then his damage gets even bigger, even higher numbers than he also is able to apply. So pair him, for example, with someone like, where is he? Rava, and you have a perfect team for DPS for most waves out there. They will clear those domain waves stage 18 easily within 30 seconds. Just these two heroes. So that's it, Vidimir. He's also able to inflict frost on his own. So if you build him with a little bit of accuracy, then he actually can place those frost debuffs on his own and then deal high, very high amounts of damage with his ultimate. But he is more focused on AoE damage. Now, if you need someone for single target DPS, then you should definitely give Schaltar a try. He is so strong, and if used correctly in the right Dauntless team, he can outperform your strongest, or maybe not your nasty J, but apart from that, he can really, trust me, he can outperform most of your Dauntless legendary damage dealers. Not because he is dealing so much damage, but because his ultimate just benefits from every single basic attack that gets launched. So if you are using him in the correct Dauntless team, then he is so strong, because pair him with Thuta and Tarivol, or maybe Garrett, just some Dauntless heroes, maybe even Nimbus, some Dauntless heroes that launch many basic attacks, and he gets so much damage. He is a very strong hero, and I've been using him in my very first season of the game, in the old version, in my Vortex team for the whole season, and he has been dealing so much damage. And now even here, in the last couple of weeks, in the last 2 weeks, I've been using him in many different of the free-to-play teams that are built, that I've been showing you. And he just provided so good damage numbers, and this is what he is all about. It's all about his ultimate. Now his other skills are very useful as well. Attack up is always useful, but it is all about his ultimate. If you want to use Schaltar, there's one thing to mention. He does not need crit rate or crit damage. You want him with high attack and as much enlightenment as possible. And the best artifact for him probably is the Wild Ink. It is only a legendary artifact, not a mythical artifact, and it is just perfectly used on your Schaltar. So if you are using a Dauntless team and you want to squeeze a little bit more damage out of your team, you should absolutely give Schaltar a try. You will not regret it. He is so strong. And once again, he's just an epic hero that can outdamage your Garrett, your Suta, and I did not test him with Tarivol yet because I just got Tarivol like 10 days ago. But I think if he is built properly, he can even outdamage your Tarivol, just because he benefits from every single auto basic attack that Tarivol launches. That's it for Schaltar. Now let me look at my notes real quick. Oh yeah, another hero that I already used in other videos as well is Tonalnan. And he's so strong as well. Some of the big players, not the biggest whales out there, but at least many dolphins, are using Tonalnan for single target DPS. He's so strong. And if you have, for example, if you have no Casper, but Flora, Felicity, and Eric, and you want to use, and if you need a second DPS unit for your wild team, for your Vortex wild team, you should definitely give Tonalnan a try. He or she, I think she's a little lizard lady. She can deal so much damage. It's insane. And what I like so much about Tonalnan is this passive. It just makes building Tonalnan so much easier because of the built-in crit rate and also just the crit damage that it scales up the longer the battle goes. And he reached those maximum stacks of 20 relatively fast. So he does not need like 5 minutes to reach the maximum cap. He gets there really quick, especially if he's used in the right team. So he pairs very well with Eric, just for Eric's passive as well. And the last hero that I wanted to mention, I did not test him that much, but I saw many screenshots on the official Discord where people had been using Isitarian, and it is amazing how much damage he can deal, how much damage his summoned dragons can deal. Just if you want to use the summon heroes, the summon team, the summoning element, and you need a bit more of damage, you should definitely give Isitarian a try. His passive, the dragons that he summons, they are so strong. Maybe the place where I saw Isitarian as well was in Feymeander in the enemy waves. And every single time that Isitarian was there, it was insane how much damage he, or his dragons in particular, dealt. And he's just an epic. So definitely one of the strongest DPS heroes out there in the epic category. And you can definitely use Tonalnan in the different areas of the game if you need some DPS in the summoning, or generally speaking in the permafrost faction. Also just that he grants, or that he buffs those dragons. It's just a very nice kid and a very, very nice hero. Apart from that, he's just summoning dragons. I mean, that's great, isn't it? That's so much fun. So use it, Isitarian, if you need some DPS in the summoning faction. And now that's it for the overall, the normal categories like tank, heal, control, and DPS. Now, the last hero that I wanted to talk about, my personal favorite, my personal pick, if I had to restart my account and I can only use one epic, or I can get one epic from the beginning, it would be Zharloth. He is so great. He is so versatile. He can do everything. He even does the cleaning and cooks for you if you want to. He just does everything. He is the perfect hero. He can place a silence debuff or a silence control effect. Once again, extremely useful. He can place the recharge speed penalty, which is so useful as well, just like I said, and also a very relatively rare ability. And also he's placing it on his battle skill, which means that he can place this debuff on a very frequent way, and it is on an AoE area too. So this kit is just amazing, but his ultimate is so strong. It is a very good AoE range. It is multi-hitting, it hits 5 times, and it plays the fear control effect, which is so useful once again. So here, use him in the Holy Hunter set, give him the Witch Remains, and he can do everything for you. He's just so useful, and even if you're not using him, even if your main team is not summoning or frost, even then, just use him in your backline, use him to control the enemy team. Even for PvP, he is so useful, and he has been my MVP for Feymeander. This is Zharloth, so strong, and also his aura. Even his aura is so amazing. Attack in all battles. Just a great hero. And actually, you can even build him with high attack, because his heal, yes, he is healing on his passive and on his ultimate as well, just while doing everything else too. And his heal actually scales off attack. So he can also deal a little bit of damage as well. So just like I said, this dude, he does it all. So use Zharloth. Even if you have access to many legendary heroes, you should probably use Zharloth. Just because he is so versatile, he is so useful. I really like Zharloth, and I've been using him since the very first day of the game. And I hope that every one of you has Zharloth, because as far as I'm aware of, he is not 100% free to play. Not everyone has Zharloth, but you can summon him from the purple dice as well. So sooner or later you will definitely have Zharloth, and then you should definitely use him. But that's it. This is like the strongest hero. There are heroes, epic heroes, but there are some honorable mentions. For example, a very interesting hero is, where is she? Sifris? Because she is a very interesting hero. She is not the strongest healer, and it is a bit problematic that she consumes her own health, but she can resurrect your allies. And this is very rare. I don't think that there is a single legendary except for Mithrasia that can resurrect actually your allies. You can place the Revive on Death buff, but resurrecting allies is extremely rare, and she's an epic hero that can resurrect your allies. And Mithrasia is an exclusive. So this is just a very, very interesting ultimate, and she can also place the resurrection at death. So she is definitely an honorable mention, and maybe later on in the season or in later seasons, this hero gets even more interesting. But the problem is that she consumes some of her own health, so she has to be paired with another healer. But apart from that, very, very interesting hero, and definitely deserves honorable mention. Also, Corrin. Just let me talk about this hero real quick. He's an extremely strong enabler for some poison teams, because no one, not a single legendary hero in the poison category, can extend poison debuffs as good as Corrin can with his ultimate. This is very, very interesting, and when it comes to poison heroes, poison teams in general, you want to stack those poison debuffs, and you want to reach as many stacks of poison as possible. And Corrin just is the best hero right now for doing this. So if you have SlothForge, for example, or maybe even Twitch, you should definitely consider giving Corrin a try, because his ultimate is just bonkers. And the last honorable mention is actually a rare hero. Just wanted to talk about her real quick. Sigrid. I said it once and I will say it again. She is definitely not a rare hero. She is like at least an epic hero, and she can, for me personally, she feels like a legendary hero because she can deal so much damage, but also she's applying this healing prohibition and the big version with 100% healing prohibition. So for some particular Fey waves, for example, it's just so useful. Build her with high resistance, high accuracy, and good skill haste, and all of a sudden, she, paired with a tank with the reflect damage set, can easily clear some of the waves on their own, just because this healing prohibition, the big version, is so useful. Also attack penalty, and thanks to her passive in some particular waves and stages, she's actually spamming her ultimate. So she's very fun to use and extremely strong. And that's it. That it is with the honorable mention. And there are many other heroes as well. So for example, a very strong hero as well is Thea, because she enables some cheesy tactics for the Grave of Rot. And there are many more heroes that would deserve an honorable mention, or even to be in the list of the strongest, the very best epic heroes. But this video already is at 32 minutes and I don't want to get it even longer, so I had to cut out some heroes. But if you hardly disagree with anything I just said, if there is a hero that you think is the strongest hero out there, let me know in the comments below. And if you had to restart your account and you can only choose one epic, or you can choose one epic to start with, what would your choice be? I'm very interested in this as well. So let me know in the comments below. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next one, guys.